With this question that we're going to do, here's the first question down here at the bottom. Then there's a second question, a third question, as well as a fourth question. Okay, so let's get started. It says that Table 3 shows the provincial results in mathematical literacy in the National Senior Certificate in 2021. A candidate must achieve 30% to pass. So let's see what they've got here. So we've got the different provinces in South Africa, the 9 different provinces, Eastern Cape, Free State, Gauteng, and so on. For example, in the Eastern Cape, there were 46,960 learners who wrote in 2021, and the percentage that got 30% or more was 72%. So 72% got 30% or more. The other percentage, they failed. They did not get the 30%. Okay? And then, for example, I'll give you one more example. For example, in the Northern Cape, there were 9,000 learners who wrote. And if you look at only 71.3% got passed, and then the remaining number, they failed. Okay? So these are the percentage of people that passed. Our first question says, determine the total number of candidates who wrote mathematical literacy in 2021 in the Republic of South Africa. So that would be pretty much calculating this value over here. So you would just go ahead and add all of these numbers together. Okay, so you know how to do that, right? You're just going to plus them all together on your calculator. And if you do that, you should get 441,067. The next question says, determine the number of provinces that performed poorer than the national score in 2021 in terms of an achievement. Wait, what? Determine the number of provinces that performed poorer than the national score in 2021 in terms of an achievement of 30% and above. Okay, I don't know about you, but for me, wait, what? Determine the number of provinces that performed poorer than the national score in 2021 in terms of an achievement of 30% or more. Okay, that's a confusing question, unless something's like not clicking in my head. I get it. Determine the number of provinces that performed poorer than the national score. So what they mean is, which provinces did worse than the average. So if you look here, we've got all these percentages, right? Then I didn't realize that they've gone to give us an average. So this is the average for the whole country. So they say, how many provinces did worse than that? So the Eastern Cape is slightly lower than 74.5. KZN, Limpopo, Mpumalanga, and the Northern Cape. So that is 5 provinces. Okay, so you can just say 5. The next question says, calculate the number of candidates who passed mathematical literacy in the Eastern Cape in 2021. So in the Eastern Cape, there were 46,960 learners who wrote. How many passed? 72.3. So you need to work out what is 72.3% of all of the learners who wrote in the Eastern Cape, which was 46,000 learners. Okay, and so you could say 72.3 over 100, and then multiply by 46960, and then we can just go work that out. And so that's going to give us 33952.08. I was going to say rand, but it's just people. So we can say students. Oh, but now because it's students, we can't really just leave it like that. And so we can just round it down to 33952 students. Okay, now to be honest, I'm not quite sure why we have to round up or round down. Yeah, we can say that this number's closer to this one. But, I thought the memo would have allowed both, because this one's a little bit more. Usually it's easy to know whether we should round up or round down. Like if we needed to know how many bags of sand we need to buy, then you would always round up, because you need more. If you're building a house, for example, and you need bags of sand, and you get an answer like this, well, then you would always round up, because otherwise you're going to run out of sand. But this one was a little bit more weird, so I wouldn't stress too much about it. So I know some of you are going to comment, and you're going to be like, yeah, but I said 33953, and I don't blame you. Like, I would say both of those are correct. They should, it's a bit of a challenging one of whether we should round that one up or down. The memo has it like that, okay? But yeah, I wouldn't stress too much about that one. Okay, now moving on to this question. It says, determine the probability of selecting a candidate that failed mathematical literacy in 2021 from the people in the Northern Cape. So in the Northern Cape, remember, probability can be a decimal or a percentage. They haven't told us, so we can just go use the percentage. So because we know that in the Northern Cape, 71% of the learners in the Northern Cape passed. So 71.3% passed. So what percent failed? Or you could just say 100 minus 71.3. And that means 28.7% failed. So that would be the probability as well. It's the probability, it's the percentage that someone failed from the Northern Cape.